Bissonnette.
Present.
Mayor Stewart.
Here.
Councilor Ormsby.
Here.
Councilor Downs is absent. Councilor Rankin.
Here. Next item is presentation of town council recognitions. First, we have a swearing in for Officer Caleb Brooks.
Ready?
Ready.
Have you raised your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Caleb Brooks,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and will obey the
and will
laws
obey the laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Maine,
and of the state of Maine,
that I will in all respects
that I will in all respects
observe the provisions
observe the provisions
of the charter and
of
ordinances
the charter and ordinances
of the town of Bucksport,
of the town of Bucksport,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of patrol officer
of patrol officer
for the town of
for
Bucksport.
the town of Bucksport.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Kayla, a couple words from where you're at and where you're from and who's here with you tonight?
Yeah, so my entire family's here. My dad, my mom. I'm from Holden, so not too far away, but I'm excited. Bucksport's a good place for me.
Okay, good, good.
Thank you,
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I just wanted to,
I will, anybody that's here for Kayla, I will not make you stay for the whole.
but please know that we're very excited that she's with us.
Thank you.
I can see the look in your eye, Jason.
I was waiting.
It's a good plan. I was going to get warm in here.
Well, it's really great that we now have the payment. They've talked about how much it will help certain of their investigations and all that kind of stuff. I'm very happy about it.
All right. Next for our presentation, we have the Spirit of America Award for 2020. Sue.
Yes, we do. Find my stuff. I just sat down there with that. Well,
I just saw you have it.
I had the whole thing.
You had it right there.
I did, right here in this pile. Stop. It's not that pile. It's this pile. Okay.
Sue, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to try. So, annually, the town of Bucksport participates in the Spirit of America Awards. And every year, the town council names deserving citizens who exemplify the characteristics that denote the award with this. And for 2020, our award recipients were Dawn Houghton and Sandy Holmes. And unfortunately, we were living in COVID land at the time this designation occurred, and we weren't able to do anything in person. And so last meeting was our first sort of, we're back in the same room meeting, and we decided that one of the first orders of business that we needed to do in person was to make this award real in a way that recognizes them and their contributions to our community. So I have some remarks that I'm going to make, and then I have an award that we're going to present. I am pleased this evening to present this well-deserved and much-delayed 2020 Spirit of America Award to Dawn Houghton and Sandy Holmes. The Spirit of America Foundation tribute is presented in the name of Maine municipalities to local individuals, organizations, and projects for commendable community service. The Spirit of America Awards have been presented in communities since 1990. As everyone knows, Dawn and Sandy operate the Bucksport Enterprise, the local weekly newspaper published here every Thursday. And wanted to note that when I was thinking about doing this award, I was thinking about how important a local newspaper is to a community, and I did some research and I found an article that talked about it, it said what makes hometown newspapers so important, and I amended that to what makes the enterprise so important to our community. And there were two things that stood out in it. That one, it is the main way that local problems are addressed. With local issues, usually local newspapers are the only potential source of coverage and exposure. And without our local newspaper, residents could be caught off guard by developments in the area much more often. And truthfully, local issues are often more pressing for the everyday American than what happens in Washington. And two, they legitimize local achievements. Just because an achievement isn't groundbreaking on a national level does not mean that the achievement is not worth reporting on. Whether it is a local football team results or a charity initiative in a local school or a discovery made by a local resident, our lives are filled with notable events, and local newspapers make these achievements feel more important by sharing them with your community, fostering a greater feeling of community spirit. And I think that that epitomizes what the enterprise represents for this community. We here in Bucksport are so fortunate to have a local newspaper, and I'm not sure that it can truly be appreciated unless you come from somewhere that does not have one. Don and Sandy not only provide coverage for local government issues and projects, they also provide a way for local businesses to showcase their offerings, advertise local jobs and events, and to memorialize the oh-so-important everyday happenings in our community. Don and his camera are at every event. They consistently go above and beyond to make sure that our schools and our student efforts are given the recognition that they deserve. But they are equally attentive to the events for our seniors. They really do such a good job of making sure that our ongoing history across the spectrum is recorded and promoted. The enterprise is also a lifeline for many former Bucksport residents to stay in touch with their hometown. The enterprise has a wide and diverse readership across this country. I think it is fair to say that the work that Don and Sandy do is primarily a labor of love. Love for their craft, love for the importance of the written word, but most importantly, love for Bucksport. I'd like to present the 2020 Spirit of America Award to Don Houghton and Sandy Holmes from a very grateful community.
Who's taking your picture, Don?
The Town of Bucksport 2020 Spirit of America Award presented to Don Houghton and Sandy Holmes for their ongoing efforts in support of the Bucksport community.
Congratulations, guys.
Okay, turn around. Pictures. There we go. There.
You can have the box, please.
Let me put it so it doesn't fit on the home. There's the bag that goes in, and this is the way it goes into the little thing you can use. And I'll email you the comments if you would like. And if you'd like to say it, either of you would like to say anything?
I'm delighted that you mentioned Sandy first, because people do not understand what Sandy does. She does everything that I don't do, and that's an incredible list. And everything from making sure that I'm where I'm supposed to be, to even getting a haircut to come up here, to just doing all of our billing and everything else you could possibly imagine. She does it very, very well under extraordinary situations. The only comment I was going to make personally was, 20 years ago, I'm going to turn my back on these people, I see me all the time, but 20 years ago when I was about to buy the newspaper, The Enterprise, from Sharon Bray, I met with a fellow who's very savvy about newspapers in Maine, particularly in this region. He had a lot of decades of experience. And he called me in, and he says, "Don, you're making a big mistake." Okay. He said, "It's not a big enough series of communities to sustain a weekly newspaper." I'm pleased to stand here and say that thanks to the people of the area we cover, thanks to these folks, thanks to our advertisers, we proved them wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
And you want to say
All right. Next item is consider minutes of the previous meetings. We have town council minutes from 5/27/21. Council, like to proceed?
Motion approved. Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Item 5 is receive and review correspondence. I don't believe we have any. 6 is ordinances to consider and introduce. Again, we don't have any. Discussion items. First one is proposed Penobscot Marine Heritage Event, July 17th. Dick, I believe that's you.
Does this work?
Yes. Well, I say it works. I hope it works. I don't know.
There we go, try that. Going for everybody? Thank you. Good evening, my name's Dick Campbell. I've had the honor to address you before as your legislator, so I have an honor tonight to address you in another manner, but I notice there's a vacancy, and
You can imagine where she's at during the rainy season, right?
and I just want to thank the more astute legislator than I to have both served on your council and the legislature at the same time. It's a tough job, and as a matter of fact, I don't know if I could have done it the way she's done it this year. When you're in front of the screen for 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, and then you hook up with your emails, it's a tough job. So I really want to thank her for representing all of us. So today we're here, as we were almost a year ago, I think, to talk about the Maine bicentennial birthday celebration that we have sort of created an organization, as I mentioned last year, Penobscot Maritime Heritage Association, and we're sponsoring the Four-Port Loop as we did last year before things really got shut down. And before you we have our latest presentation, both about the organization and the Four-Port Loop. Castine has decided not to participate as much, but we're getting a lot of interest among the other towns around, up and down the lower Penobscot Basin. And the dates have actually expanded from July 1st to July 24th. At one point last year we were hoping to have it a week long, but with Searsport working on their 175th, they start July 1st, and then our events both include theirs, but also go beyond the 18th, where the tall ships will proceed south down the river to Searsport to engage in what I didn't know anything about, was a GAM, as they call it, I guess, where the ships collect and then sail off. So The Bucksport events have been sort of expanded and then retreated and now expanded again. We've been planning for this for probably into January. We meet monthly, now we're meeting weekly. And we had hoped that Bucksport would be the hub of our four-port loop. Bucksport has benefited now from an expanded cruise ship visit, so we have sort of pushed it around, and the ships that we have, if you take a look at pages 9 and 10, we have the different vessels that are expected to be here. We talked as recently as today with the Spanish vessel Santa Maria, and they're sort of our keynote, and they will be possibly visiting Bucksport before the major event and then going to Bangor for a 3 or 4 day visit. The Maine's own tall ship, the Bowden from Maine Maritime Academy, is sort of, they expected to be here for the whole week, but in fact they're on their mission and will be in Bangor on Thursday evening, and that starts a program where in each of the ports we have a movie on the sail, and it starts in Bangor, and then in terms of its visitation to the smaller towns and beyond, they'll be sailing up on Thursday and back on Friday. And then that will be replaced by the Abby Burgess, U.S. Coast Guard cutter, and that will be in Bangor until they both come down through and go on to Searsport on the 18th on Sunday. We've encouraged as much as possible the history of the Penobscot River and the lower Penobscot Basin. We've got our institutions of higher learning involved. We have the University of Maine 3D boat, which will be in all locations. And Maine Maritime Academy is doing presentations in each of the locations as well. And what we've tried to do, with the advice of local businesses in Bucksport, is to move the activity as quickly onto Main Street as possible to have the Main Street businesses benefit from it. So the 3D boat probably will be displayed between the Alamo and Bangor Savings on that parking spot just beyond the sidewalk or green. And we're hoping that with a presentation area information, gathering a tent down by the waterfront with the cruise ship and all, there'll be an opportunity to inform people and then move them up to Main Street. So we're excited about, and can't say enough, the sponsorship of Bangor Savings Bank. You know, we couldn't do this at all. These vessels and all the costs that go into making a presentation like this over a long period becomes very expensive. And Bangor Savings Bank came to the plate and is doing a miraculous job, both in our exploration of it last year and the actual event this year. One of the things that we'd like to do as an organization is to maybe make this more than just a one-time event. Maybe try and do it annually. So there's so much to promote in this region. One of the main missions of the Bicentennial Commission is to move tourism into central and eastern Maine. And this is one of the biggest events they've got, the longest events they have. They've got Rockland, Booth Bay, Portland, but this one appears to be most exciting, especially from the Santa Maria's perspective. They haven't done many rivers. So we're a little concerned about the 395 bridge, but at dead low, we might be able to get it under there without breaking the mast off. So we're pretty excited about it, and Bucksport and Mike Ormsby has been tremendous. Rich is part of the board, and then Colleen and Mary have just been wonderful about bringing the energy back to Bucksport. Because at one point, because of the new schedule for the cruise ship, we were left with not much going on. So that's been revived, and we're very excited about Bucksport. And I think I told you the story last time I was at Bicentennial Commission meeting, and Dave Cheevers, who is part of the commission and co-chair, asked if I knew anybody that would be interested in bringing a tall ship into Bucksport Harbor. I said, well, maybe. And now we've gotten a whole entourage of ships and dates and events that not only expanded from a 1 week to almost a full month. And the Penobscot River Basin is up and coming, and it's great to get the history. We've also been provided a commitment for a production that we're making based on a grant of different historical pieces of every town up and down both sides of the river. So we'll be showing that as the movie on the sale in 3 places. So we've got the Bowden as the screen in Bangor, and James Gilwaith, the town manager of Searsport, is making us 2 portable sales, to one for Bucksport, one for Searsport. And so that might be fun. That's going to be an actual square sale, I guess, instead of the triangles. And we'll be able to move it around and maybe do this more frequently. But also Keith Bowden, who has been working with the OnSell program, cataloging both the trips and the points of interest, and you can get into your phone everything that he's cataloged, from different visitations on historicals to just the trips around the towns, and you can dial in and do that. We've also expanded that to local Bucksport's historical. I don't remember what you're calling that, but Castine has been up and running on that for a few years. It's very valuable for people to just dial it up and take a look at the town without having a lot of effort by the town. So I guess what I would like you to do is just take a look down through here. The history, starting with the Native American support of and transportation that was provided by the Penobscot to the present day, and the Chimbro manufacturing and export is something that we'll be profiling. And what we're doing is presenting to the different towns, and as you can see on page 8, those are at least the tentatives as of last Tuesday of all the events that are scheduled. There are some that may not be perfectly accurate, but it gives you a good sense of all the different activities that are going on from July 1st through the 24th this year. One of the things that I did last year and continued this year is presenting to the councils and governing boards of each of the towns, and we're requesting that a contribution come from each town in the amount of 50 cents per citizen. So some have already contributed because of the end of their years, but would like to request that of the town again this year as we did last year.
Any questions? I'm gonna ask, what did we do with the money that we gave you last year?
We didn't get any. It wasn't,
They didn't.
No.
You didn't ask
no, we
for
didn't.
anything?
We asked for it.
And we approved it, right?
I'm assuming you committed to it, but
Yeah.
we didn't take it because we didn't put it on.
I
Yep.
just wanted to make sure of that.
But that's a good question. We're hearing that there may be an interest in a map of the waterfront, the downtown region, the historicals, and we'd like to contribute that amount to producing that map for the waterfront, and sponsored by the Full Port Loop and the Penobscot Maritime Heritage Association.
I'm really excited about this. I think it's great, and I sat in on one of the first meetings you guys had, and I think the excitement of all the different things that you have going on, I think it's perfect for what we have here and this whole area. So I'm pumped about it. Thank you for putting all the effort in the committee.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of frustration. When I first was in the legislature, my first committee was bank and insurance. I had a Senate chair. And she kept talking about everything seemed to be like squeezing a balloon. You put your hands around it and it would pop out here. This has been difficult, but it's been a lot of fun, and we're almost all the way around that balloon right now.
Pleasure of the council to have it resolved at our next meeting and go from there. Okay. All right.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. And I assume that's 2,500, right? We're 5,000 people. We'll go with that number.
I didn't know what you had, 4,400, whatever it is.
We're going to say we got 5,000 people.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so
I
much.
think that's close to our census.
Okay. Thanks, Dick. All right. Next was the waterfront committee update. Luke here. Luke was elected chairman, but apparently he's run away.
He's in the other room.
He failed for that very reason.
Failed for that, exactly.
Here he comes.
Is he coming? He's heard his name.
Yeah, he can hear this.
Luke, your one elected job as the chair was to make sure you present.
Was in a meeting.
Just a quick synopsis of what we talked about and what we think our next options are.
So we discussed about 10 different items that we think we need to address, and kind of prioritized that we think the erosion issue is the most major concern at this time. And so I'm going to look into some different firms that specialize in that kind of engineering and try and get some proposals together to put before the committee at the next meeting, which is the 8th.
July 8th.
And
July 8th, 6 o'clock.
Yep. And then if we are happy with something, then we'll bring it to the council. So.
Great. Any questions? I think it was a productive meeting, and I think we put ourselves on a path to fix what we've got down there, so I think we're going in the right direction. Thanks, Luke.
No problem.
All right, next items are a bunch of agenda items, resolves. Just FYI, we will handle those when we get down to the public hearings. We'll come back up and take care of the budget resolves. But the first resolve that we can take care of is Resolve 2021-73 to approve the purchase of repeater units for the police and fire. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Chief?
Just a quick explanation as to what this is all about, because you may hear about it in the future also. Right now, when any public safety member is out on a call and they have their portable radio on, you have 5 watts of power that is going from anywhere in the town itself to the town garage of that tower to the dispatch center. We have a lot of dead spots in town where dispatch can't hear units. And what we're proposing is to put a repeater system in the lead cruiser for now and the Rescue 2 truck, which is a new pickup truck that you purchased. And what that will do, in a sense, is that anyone that is on that call that is on the repeater channel, the repeater in those vehicles actually goes through the radio in the vehicle, and you'd go from 5 watts to 50 or 100 watts, depending on the radio, to the tower. I spoke with Brown's Communication the end of last week, and Washington County was having a major issue like this, and they went to a full repeater system like this in their vehicles, and it is, in that area, it is taking care of the problem. It is truly a safety issue at this point, when someone's alone, especially, and you're way out on 46, and the dispatch can't hear you on your radio. So we want to try it out first, and then proceed forward if it works from there.
Questions?
Thank you.
Luke?
If those two vehicles aren't running or in the vicinity, does it still have the same effect if they're parked at the station?
No, if the radio's on and the portable radio is on the repeater channel, yes, it would hit that if you want.
That's what I mean, the
Yes.
repeater in those two vehicles that you're talking about,
Yeah.
if they're parked at the police station, it's still...
You'd have to be in the vicinity, I believe, to hit that repeater of the 5 watts, yeah.
But you would, in essence, have the repeater with you because our frontline response vehicles are the ones that respond to all calls.
Yes.
Right?
Those 2 units are usually on every call. Unless there's 2 or 3 calls going, then you might have ambulance 2 there, not ambulance 1, and so that's why we're going to test it and proceed forward from there in the future if it works.
Towers need to be upgraded at all?
Don't believe so, no. No,
We
it's
did-
just a unit that will go, we're looking at the full gamut at this point as far as towers and capacity, and if you remember, we replaced one of the repeaters a few years ago for thousands and thousands of dollars. That one is ready to go digital at any time
That
that
was
we
my next
change
question. Are we
stuff
going
over.
digital pretty quick?
We could be, and one of those repeaters out there already has it set up in it, so.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Next is resolve 2021-74 to award the street sweeper interest rate bid. It was, the resolve was sent in an email. Hope everybody had a chance to see that. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion approved.
Second.
So motion is second.
I just wanted to explain my recommendation, which is that we go with Machias Savings at the tax exempt rate. And the reason is, even though it's higher than Camden National's tax exempt rate, Camden National requires a legal opinion to be done on the loan in order to get that tax exempt rate. And that legal opinion costs between $2,800 and $2,900. And when you add that to the difference in interest, it makes the cost higher than Machias Savings, which has a 2.19%, but does not require, because of their banking regulation for their bank, they do not require a legal opinion for this loan. So even though it's a little bit higher, it's a net lower cost to the town to do the tax exempt rate at 2.19% than it is to do the Camden National one when you add in the cost of that legal opinion. We generally don't recommend against the lower, but it's deceptive in that that legal opinion cost is significant when you add it on to these tax exempt loans.
Thank you. Any further questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Can I ask who made that motion? I'm
I did,
Jacob.
Annie.
Okay, thank you. Second?
Sure.
Thank you. My apologies.
Item 9, we have nothing. Item 10 is approval of quick claims, discharges, and deeds. We have none. Item 11 is town manager report.
I spent a lot of my time tonight looking for things. I'm sure we have them. Thank you. Give one to everyone else except me. The Bucksport Congregational Church will be sponsoring a Know Your Neighbor series on the second Tuesday of each month. The series is non-denominational and designed to help people get to know others in their community. I have been asked to be an interviewee at the meeting on August 10th from 7:15 to 8:15 at Brown Hall. And there would be a different interviewee each month. The public would be invited to attend and come and listen to the interview and then ask questions. The podcast that I did with the American City and County organization is now online on their website. And as a follow-up, I have been asked to attend a conference in Salt Lake City at the end of July as a panelist to discuss local government response during the pandemic. Bucksport is the smallest community on the panel, but because so many communities across the country are our size, the organizers thought that our perspective would be important. The costs of attending the event would be borne by the American City and County Group, and I'm asking if any of the counselors would have any objections to my attending.
They didn't invite any counselors to go with
A certain mayor.
right?
I sent a copy of the podcast that I got a copy of to the counselors today, and we'll post it on our website, so if anyone wants to listen to that. It's about the town's response during the pandemic, and it's a 20-minute podcast, so I did my best to represent the community. You can judge that if you listen to it. The Tim Emery Pool is scheduled to open on June 19th, and according to the Bucksport Y, things are on schedule for this to happen, with Mike's Pool Service doing the pool commissioning. Swimming lessons are seeing high sign-up numbers, and the summer camp enrollment already exceeds 50 applicants, which is way higher than last year and really good. The town received 2 bids for sale of the 2006 Sterling plow truck, $5,151 from Wardwell Construction and $10,200 from Wayne Alexander. And these funds from the high bidder will go into the Highway Equipment Reserve. And the Senior Center is once again offering their Monday, Wednesday, and Friday meals, not only by delivery, but in person. And which is another bit of normalcy returned to our lives. And the heat pumps that were approved by the council were installed on Monday, just in time to provide much-needed cooling for that facility. And now, throughout the summer, when it gets too hot, our seniors can go to the Senior Center for a great meal in a cool and comfortable environment.
Thanks. Any questions? Any questions on any of the department head reports? Again, folks have been busy. Keep up the good work. It certainly shows around here. So, all right. Next item is public hearings. We have budget public hearings, so we'll go down through the list. I'll open the Town of Bucksport General Fund public hearing for General Fund 2021-22. Comments? Hearing none. Close that public hearing. We'll go up to, actually, I'll hold all the public hearings first, then we'll go down to the resolves, if that's okay with everybody. Open up the public hearing for the Town of Bucksport Capital Improvement 2021-2022. Any questions? Close that public hearing. I'll open the public hearing for the Town of Bucksport Marina 2021-2022 budget. Any questions? Close that hearing. I'll open the Town of Bucksport sewer budget for 2021-2022 public hearing. Any comments? I will close that public hearing. All right, we'll go back to the resolves. The first resolve 2021-66. To adopt the town general fund budget for the period July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Second is resolved 2021-67 to adopt the capital improvement plan for the period July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Next is resolved 2021-68 to adopt the sewer budget for the period July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Resolved 2021-69 to set the sewer user rates for the period July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Resolve 2021-70 to adopt the marina operating budget for the period July 1st, 2021 to June 30th. Am I going too fast?
No, I just wrote it in the wrong place.
All right. Crap, where was I? Marina budget, right?
Yes.
I'm going too fast. Resolve 2021-70 to adopt the marina operating budget for the period July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion approved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Resolve 2021-71 to set the date when taxes are due and payable for the July 21st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022 fiscal year. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion approved. Second.
A motion second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. And the last one is Resolve 2021-72 to set interest rates to be paid for taxes unpaid for the July 21st, 2021, June 30th, 2022 fiscal year. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everybody. Next, we have a Bucksport House of Pizza. Bucksport House of Pizza liquor license. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion second. Any comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Next is a liquor license for Ming's Restaurant. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion second. Comments? All those in favor?
I have signatures
Yep.
for these.
While we're passing around that, we'll open up for discussion items not on the agenda for the council and public. Anybody in the public have any? Steve?
Hi, guys. It feels like 2019, sort of feels kind of odd. Hi, my name is Stephen St. Peter. I own a Facebook group here in town called EV/Solar for Bucksport, Maine. We currently have 108 members. I was contacted by a wonderful man by the name of, I think, Matthew Connington, and he's in charge of something like a Cannonball Run, but it's for electric cars. And he wants to know why there is not more electric car chargers in town. He knows about the one, but he wants. They said that they want to come through Bucksport and peruse some of the restaurants and shops and stuff, but at least come into different towns and stuff like that. And now there would be 100 electric vehicles coming through this area, and I'm wondering why don't we have more electric vehicle chargers? I know that Rich applied for a grant, but is there any chance in your budget next year could you possibly purchase some more EV chargers?
We will certainly look at it when the budget process is out.
Okay, there's a lot of interest in Bucksport. They think that it's a great town. There's people like a guy that owns a company called E2 Tech down in southern Maine, I believe. He's very interested in Bucksport. Then I get a YouTube personality. He vlogs in his electric car, and he's been through Bucksport before, and he absolutely loves it. He thinks that there should be more EV chargers. So if we can get this going, I also have another suggestion. Would the town be interested in leasing an electric or a plug-in vehicle for administrative type of trips to different meetings and stuff like that, or because I know a lot of cities and towns do it, so I'm wondering if there'd be any interest to set a good example anyway.
We don't really have spare vehicles that we use, but we don't have.
Right. It was just a suggestion that I had. So, all right. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Anybody else? Luke?
Well, so there's, I'm kind of, the tall ships thing that they had an event planned for July 17th, and somehow it didn't get on the agenda, and evidently there was something in my email, but I didn't see it because I was on vacation last Thursday when it came through, and I missed it.
When this was, it was put on the agenda tonight. When I talked to Jacob, who said that he didn't have all the paperwork back
That
from
might be my fault. I don't know.
from everyone, but that we have we have another council meeting in.
Before it happens.
We have two more council meetings before it happens, and the presentation tonight was the explanation of what went along with that.
Okay.
Okay, I think we were under the understanding that the application needed to be in by Thursday, the application for the permit for the event, and also the payment for the permit, I think it's $5 or something, needed to be in by Thursday so that it could be on the agenda tonight to be approved or not. And I think that's what we were expecting, and so what Dick Campbell presented was sort of an overview to explain in more detail what the event was that we were planning to hold on July 17th.
It's I don't know that Jacob, as of the time I was doing the agenda, Jacob did not have the backup information. All these applications go out to public safety and they go to code enforcement to come back with recommendations to the council whether or not they should be approved or not based on necessary staffing, do they meet codes, all that kind of stuff. And when I did the agenda on Tuesday, actually, that we did not have, those reports weren't back. And that's, when I talked to Jacob about it, he said we don't have all the information back, but we have a number of more meetings, and we have another one in 2 weeks, and if the overall
We've approved within 2 weeks of festival, so I don't know what.
we approved $2,500 tonight for the thing to happen. I mean that's what's going on to resolve at the next meeting.
Well, I guess I just was confused of what was happening here tonight.
Did
but
public safety turn in there?
No, we got it either the end of last week or early this week, and we met, and we had some questions and concerns about the event, the schedule. I met with Dick as he was leaving, and he has invited us to his next meeting that's here Tuesday, and we're going to attend to get involved with the planning and staffing so we can get more in the loop. We had not yet approved it because we had a bunch of questions.
So we should be able to see something on our next meeting in July, or either the June
The end
one,
of June,
the 24th.
the 24th of June.
All right. So
Okay.
you're all set.
Okay.
That was the
Just a little concerned because
Yes,
it's closing in on it, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, if something happens between now and then, and we have the Santa Maria coming from Europe.
I think by having public safety involved with Dick in his meeting, that will hopefully clear the air.
Okay, so timing, we're still okay for timing.
Oh, you got plenty of
This
time.
discussion. Thank
The
you.
worst we're going to do is say no, so, right?
No.
I just
Colleen,
felt bad.
there's
She was
plenty of
panicking, and I
time between
missed an email. I felt
now
like,
and
oh, no.
especially if public safety is going to meet with, if everyone's not aware, we're down 2 officers due to resignations, and we have 2 new ones coming on, but our staffing is challenged, to say the least, right now, and events that may bring 5,000 people to a community to watch fireworks, or however many might come to do that, becomes an event that public safety, anytime we get more than a couple hundred or more than 100 people who are going to congregate someplace, public safety has to have some responsibility, and I think they just weren't in a loop in terms of the scope of what it was going to be. So those are the questions that will get answered prior to the next meeting.
Wonderful. Thank you.
A plan. We just need a plan.
All right. Rich, I could see you just beaming with excitement. Come on.
Well, I got good news about the Main Street walls. We were able to get one more of the 2 easements done, so we're actually going to have 4 of the 5 walls done. Unfortunately, I couldn't wait any longer for that 5th wall, so everything on...
Is the 5th one really needed?
Apparently, they've complained in the past to Public Works, but they don't respond to emails, Facebook messages, mail. I don't... Short of knocking on the door and asking them to come out.
I'm going to ask this, and I should have asked it. Is there a public safety issue where we could basically go do something just because?
No. It's just, it's a cosmetic thing. We can replace tops with some of the other tops that we're moving out to make
I
it
just thought
last.
if it was a public safety issue, we would have to take action based on that.
I'm also worried that the bids are going to come in higher now because of the cost of materials and struggling to find workforce. So the four major ones are going to be done: Stubborn Cow Glass, Mill Street, Pine Street, and Bridge Street.
Okay.
So those four will be done. The pre-bid meeting is June 22nd at 3 p.m. The bid opening will be June 30th at 11:30 a.m. For the council meeting on July 8th to award the bid.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
Our reclaim grade pave portion of our second project, I believe, Jay, you said was going to start next week. Is that still?
It's, yes, tentatively it could happen as early as Wednesday, starting the reclaim process. Anybody on the council have anything not on the agenda?
I was just going to quickly bring up any thoughts on what Hans Critchels and Nancy Meyer brought up a while ago about the brown-tailed moss. Apparently this last week and a half has gone crazy. Just from what I know of, and this in our town is over 100, me included.
You got a majority of the council.
There is a link that I would like to forward to Sue that we can fill out as a municipality and have Luke, the health inspector, write a letter with it. I'd just like the okay to send that link to Sue so we can send it.
And what does that give us?
It's a link for the town to let Augusta know that we do have a problem here. And the more towns that come forward, they can get the monies and whatever other assistance they can help us
Okay.
for the future. I mean, this year's season's going to be done fairly quick, I believe. But
How are we doing? Are we dealing with it all on town level, Jay? Anything you guys are doing, or?
We have not physically done anything to deal with it.
Rich,
We've done it on Main Street at the hotel, and Ron's dealt with it on the waterfront.
Okay.
Both of us got.
I'm just thinking if we make sure that going into next year that we have a plan set in place to do more. Because it really is. I know where I work, it's affecting us a lot. I know like half my staff's covered in it, and they're miserable. I know family members that are covered in it. I have some of it, and I think if we just make sure we don't put it too far on the back burner, and we look at it next year coming into it, and we do it. Somebody had mentioned an idea already that they saw with the system to try to get rid of them.
the town received a letter from the state in early this year, February, I think it was, talking about brown-tailed moth, and it was indicated in that letter that this area was an area of low concern and low instance. And we got that in February. And so when Nancy and Hans came to see me, they said, why haven't you posted? And I said, a letter said we were in an area of low incidence and there wasn't. So we, on the front page of our website, I did post the information about brown-tailed moth, what the state recommends to do. There were links on that to do it, and I also posted it on our Facebook page. Those were the things that we did. There was a request for the town expending funds on private property to do this, and we can't expend funds on private property to do this any more than we can expend fund on private property to go plow a private road. That we're not allowed by law to do that. But the, you know, how we deal with it on municipal property, the waterfront and the park on Main Street have been significant. You know, Rich and Ron and those guys had to do quite a bit.
Is everybody okay with Ed's idea of giving Sue the information and passing it on, so, okay.
Okay, I'll forward it to you, Sue.
All right.
Thank you.
Bill, anything else? Yep,
Can I speak again? Different issue. Do you want me to come
sure.
Colleen Gross, and I live on Verona, but I have a business here in Bucksport. Verona Wine and Design. And if you're familiar with my location, it's very hidden, very hidden. And people very often will walk by and not even know that we're there. So it's been a topic of discussion amongst many of the local merchants on Main Street about signage. And I think it's been discussed that in the past there's been a kiosk-type sign or something directional saying what businesses are up on Main Street or in the local vicinity of the marina and of the public dock. And so and I'm here, and Meg is here. She's port of call, and others we meet on a fairly regular basis. And the question has come up: where does the town stand? Do you still have that signage or the framework for that signage, or is there a time when something like that will be going up? We're on the summer season now, and the marina is getting quite busy, and a lot of boats are coming in. They walk up through that area, but without really seeing what there is to offer for businesses. You know, it makes it a little bit harder for us to sort of market ourselves. But something like that would be extremely helpful. And I suppose there needs to be some thought put into the design of it, because understandably businesses change from year to year. And to change out a sign often, might be difficult or cumbersome. But I think if we get creative in the design of something like that, then I think it's something that could be managed fairly quickly and easily. I think we have one business owner, Scott Rowley. I don't know if he has proposed to you before something that he had designed. He mentioned it. Did he say that he had proposed it to the town?
Yes, part of the marketing budget.
Okay. So I think that we're just kind of curious to know where we stand in that process of having something like that put up. And for the first time I had heard tonight when Dick Campbell was here, he was suggesting that the monies that were raised from the town towards the PMHA, the PMHA would donate that money towards getting that sign up. And timing, of course, like I said, summer's here and people are arriving. And
I'm going to ask, we have several groups, obviously, Main Street Bucksport and all these, a couple other groups. Has there been any thought with those groups working together to see?
They're who we're working with.
Main
We had a meeting this past Friday with Mary Powell. They're who we're working with.
Okay,
The
well,
whole group of merchants downtown.
and I
We
guess,
meet once a
I
month.
guess my suggestion would be, bring us something, I don't want it to come on to us to try to design something for you guys. But if you
No, I think I'm wondering, my question really was, is there something in the works that you guys
No.
are planning? Is it something that we can suggest as merchants on Main
Yes.
Street that you put into your thoughts
Yes.
process? And
I would
okay.
I would rather, I think I'm speaking for it, I would rather have you folks come with us with something
Perfect.
than us try to design something that is going to start, I think, the process backwards.
Right, I think
Well-
it's possible to design something on the idea of a mall where you could, your signs come in and out.
One
They slide
second,
in and
please.
out. Sorry, Rich.
No, you're good.
Every business would have a sign that would slide into
I
the
would just
slot
ask, so
top
if
and
you're
bottom.
going to talk, people can't hear you, if you want to
I'm
talk, come
sorry.
up.
There are sign designs where there are slots
you
top
come
and
up here?
bottom and
Could
they
you
can
come up here,
slide in
please?
and out.
Could you come up to the podium, please? So
Oh.
Sorry.
Let me get my other leg. I'm sorry. Meg Kay, Port of Call.
Thank you.
Yes, we are working with Main Street Bucksport and Mary Powell, all of us as a group, and Mary suggested the other day, Friday, that everybody show up tonight. Two of us are here. Anyway, we're representing the group, and I think it would be, there are sign designs where there are slots top and bottom, and businesses can slide their things in and out, so that it's usable. Whatever goes up for a sign can stay, just that the businesses may change over
Sure.
time.
I just want you guys to understand, the nature, it's, we can't act on something when it's just presented to us like
No,
this.
no, right.
But I just want you to understand that you guys continue your work, and then when you have a product, I'd love to hear about it. The ideas are great, and Rich, I don't know, do you have something more to add to this, or?
We're just waiting for the budget season. It's
Yeah,
already
I mean,
been proposed.
Okay.
We're tied to a budget season, and I continue to tell this, but
Okay.
this is what.
We're kind of here in support of Rich and what's going on.
Oh, okay.
They
That's-
asked us
that's
to,
great.
the other day at the meeting, show
I
us.
don't want you guys to get disappointed.
No, no, no.
We're not gonna, I'm not gonna come up with a design for you sitting here, okay?
We'll work on that.
That's all we ask.
Okay, so the community, so we did the marketing plan, the $10,000 marketing plan that continues to pop up in the newspaper. So, and part of that plan is the marketing plan, you have to design it all, and we'll have to put out to bid, and we've done all this as part of the budget. A sign like they're talking about was had by the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce did it, and it was cumbersome because every time businesses were changing, and this was when my predecessor was here, they'd have to take it down and blah, blah, blah. So those signs were replaced by the Take a Walk signs, which are now on the waterfront. The Take a Hike around Bucksport, the Waterfront Walkway, all the trails we have. And then the other location, we're going to have the museums in the streets going on there as well. So it is part of the capital improvement budget that was proposed by the Economic Development Committee that I submitted to the council back when budget season started. We're just, again, waiting for the budgets to be approved, which was tonight, and then for the next fiscal year, hire the, to put them up for the proposals and then go from there. So it's not a new
Everybody's on the same page, and we're gonna do something.
Yes, we're waiting for July 1st.
But that's not going to address.
But it's not going to address this season, but it can't when it's proposed in January, and you've got to wait till July. So the way that municipal budgets work is that June 30th is the end of the fiscal year. It starts July 1st, and I know their businesses have gone on, but that's where we're at.
Can we put that out for proposal at the next, or make a recommendation, or at the next Economic Development Committee meeting?
You can do it so that you can be ready to spend
To spend,
money.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, which is what, we're ready to spend money. We're just waiting to July 1st to spend the money.
Yeah.
Yes. That's it.
Okay.
So is there a time frame where we should get a design to?
You'll start now.
It go, yeah. We'll get together.
Okay, just want to know.
It is a cumbersome process, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That I don't have the answer for you right now, and I know it's frustrating.
That's okay, it's
but
all right, I just,
There is, unfortunately, there is a process that we have to follow.
That's okay, we appreciate you
yeah,
listening to us.
And process is sometimes not very neat, so.
just try to
But it is
understand,
doable.
that's all.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Anything else? All right. Actually, I did have one thing, sorry. Trash. Where do we stand with trash?
Everyone in the free world, or everyone in this region, is currently hauling to Juniper Ridge because PERC is not operating, because PERC is full to the rafters. They couldn't fit another ounce of trash at the facility if they had to, and they're not processing. And that is got nothing to do with Fiberite and everything to do with their own business plan. So that is, we've been told that runs through the 21st of this month, I believe, that we would be, along with everyone else, the only option right now in eastern Maine is landfilling. Nothing else is operating. And this has been coming for a while. The ability of PERC to process has, because of the difficulty in selling electricity at a rate that it can do it is. It's not because something's broken, it's because that. But I believe the last time we hauled there, my staff told me that you could practically not get into the facility because there was so much
Do we
waste
see this as
there.
going on for the foreseeable future because nothing's going to happen in Hamden for the foreseeable future?
Well, we'll find that out. It's June. We should find that out sometime in July. Is it going to move forward or not? Is supposed to be hinging on that. But right now, even looking for an alternative, I don't know what you're going to look at because PERC's not operating either. They say that that that's going to change, but I'm not sure how or when. They have enough waste crammed into that facility. They would be stockpiling outside if they did it, and you can imagine how attractive that is in that area with this heat.
You can smell it when you drive by.
Right.
When you drive by the plant, you can smell it.
Is MRC making any sort of statements regarding this?
Excuse me?
Is MRC making any statements regarding this situation?
Regarding the PERC situation, which is that was the bypass for this region, and what they've told us is that this diversion is through the 21st. I'm not sure what's supposed to happen between now and the 21st. They are still moving forward with the sale of the Hamden plant to Thermo, whatever the name is, that is supposed to then begin operation sometime by the end of this year, I believe.
At any point, do you think the state will step in and say everybody needs to play nice because this is a mess?
I think the reason that we could haul to PERC at all during this and not landfill was state intervention. The problem is that the state intervening to make people play nice won't get a better electric price for PERC or make their process better able to handle what they're doing. The problem for them and for the Fibrites of the world is that landfilling is the cheapest option for the disposal of trash, and it's a disincentive for other entities, and until the state does something to level that playing field of cost. I mean, you see it they've done it in energy generation, they've done it with solar, they've done it with wind, the state has developed incentives that encourage the use of alternative technologies, and the reason that those work in many cases is because there's a subsidy attached to them. And in reality, in my opinion, solid waste disposal is another utility. It's like anything else. It's not possible for any community not to do it. It's a requirement by law that every community provide an opportunity for disposal of residential solid waste for their residents. And the options are right now slim and none for many of us, and we're in a waiting game to find out what happens with the Hamden plant, but we're also in a waiting game to find out what the eventual health of PERC is in terms of their ability to sustain this new model that they changed to when they got a divorce from the MRC and they both went their separate ways. And truthfully, I don't think that the divorce has benefited anyone. Certainly hasn't benefited those of us that are here.
How long can Juniper Ridge stand this?
Juniper Ridge has just got, I forget how many million ton expansion, but that expansion can't take MSW. And so it's working with a finite amount of space right at the moment. If I were to guess, I would guess that the state's going to, depending on whether this sale moves forward or not, the state will have no choice but to either request some subsidy associated with this. I can talk on occasion. Or else we're all going to be sitting here looking at each other because there won't be any place to take it. They would have to amend the license for Juniper Ridge to allow that new expansion to take MSW, and people that surround that pile of trash are not excited about the fact that the expansion happened, let alone that it might have MSW. associated with it. But, yeah, no, we didn't, we took a load to Perk Monday, and were turned away because it was full. And the email that said there's going to be a bypass because Perk's full, that went out Friday, we didn't get.
Okay.
That's trash at the
Trash.
moment.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything else? Committee assignment, we're going to have a waterfront committee on July 8th. Anything else that we need to set up?
There's an economic development on June 21st.
21st, 6 here?
6 here.
July,
June.
June
21st, it's on Monday.
21st, 6, yeah,
6, nothing, not 5.
okay.
Just been going on to yellow.
I'll get it right. I can't count. I wasn't counting you.
Well, that's all right. All right. Nothing out, no other committees, so take a motion for adjournment.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you, everybody.